It's Eric Bakker from New Zealand, the Naturopath. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I've got my sound problem sorted. I've finally got a microphone here, this huge big blue microphone, so maybe this will finally solve my audio problem. So please give me feedback on this video if you find the sound to be quite okay. I'm not sure of the settings on this thing yet, but I'm sure I'll get there. Right, so I've got a question here from a subscriber. Will cooking with alcohol have a negative effect on my gut, a negative impact on my gut health? What else does the person say here? Can you suggest substitutes for beer or wine or brandy or things like that? So there's no doubt about it, alcohol does have an effect on the gut health. It is negative, but also you have to look at the positives with alcohol. Alcohol does have positives. There are positives and negatives with anything that you do in life. And a lot of it depends on your consumption and also your relationship with that particular kind of food. So if you're going to be like my stepfather and drink a bottle of whiskey a day for 20 years, you're going to wreck your health. There's no doubt about it. People who drink large quantities of alcohol daily are going to destroy their health. There's no argument or question about that. But what about people who don't drink large quantities of alcohol? People who are actually sensible and have small quantities of alcohol every now and then. Are they still going to wreck their health? Likely not. They're probably going to enjoy their health like the majority of people, such as myself, who enjoy drinking wine or beer or things like that. It's all about common sense, okay? It's the same difference to me is, like you could say, I enjoy driving a Lamborghini, okay? Well, there's a risk there that you might have a crash because you may go too fast in that car. You may get it stolen or something bad may happen to it because the risk may well increase compared to just a cheap four-cylinder Toyota Corolla. You may be less likely to do 200 miles an hour in the Toyota that you would in the Lamborghini. So it's the same with a firearm. It's the same with anything you do in life. There's always a risk versus a benefit. And that's really up to you to discern what's correct for you. It's not fair to say that alcohol should be banned and nobody should drink it because it kills more people. That's not really a statement of fact, is it? So, but the question here is the cooking with alcohol. Well, when you have a look at the research conducted, by large departments, university departments, for example, or people who understand about the effects of alcohol and what happens to it when you're cooking, when they researched it, they found that when alcohol was cooked for short periods of time, I think it was like 20 to 30 minutes or half an hour, up to 60% of the alcohol will get evaporated or cooked up, burnt up. If you push that further to about 1.5 to 2 hours, you're looking at less than 5% of the alcohol remaining. I do use red wine occasionally in cooking if I'm going to make a nice, beef casserole dish up, for example. I don't make those up that often, but I do really enjoy them. For example, now in the cold of winter, so I will use a cup of red wine, but that will sit there probably for about 4 or 5 hours cooking on low. So by the time that marinated beef in that red wine is served to me, there'll be less than 1 or 2% of the alcohol left. Well, that's a risk I'm willing to take for a really good casserole dish. So the negative impact, in my opinion, depends on the quantity that you're consuming, how you're cooking, and how much alcohol you're using. So as I said, alcohol is not that good for the digestive system at all, but it also depends how much you're taking and the context you're taking it in. I don't see it having a negative effect on my gut health because probably of the fact that I only have it every now and then. I wouldn't be cooking every day with alcohol, for example. Substitutes for beer, wine, and brandy, there probably aren't really any substitutes. Some of the research I did look at years ago, I found that the neutral spirits were probably a little bit better for the gut, vodka and gin, in terms of their effect on the digestive system, as opposed to the non-neutral spirits like brandy, and whiskey and things like that. So if you can look through it and it's clear and it's white, we call that a neutral spirit. But don't forget, it is still alcohol. It is still going to have negative effects on your liver, especially if you're going to drink every day. And especially if you drink alcohol daily and don't eat good food to replace the nutrients that are burnt up, through the alcohol detoxification process. I have made some videos in the past regarding alcohol, so be sure to watch those. They'll be in the diet category on this in the playlists. There is not really a substitute for beer, wine, or brandy, although some people I know drink low alcohol beers, but I don't think there's any substitute for wine or brandy. Would fruit juice be a better alternative? It probably would be, but you've still got the sugars in the fruit juice. But fruit juice is probably a little bit better alternative to alcohol, in my opinion, because it's not quite so hard on the liver. Although, if you've got a lot of fructose in that, which you do with fruit juices, it can be hard on the body. So you need to be careful not to be drawn to lots of things like alcohol and fruit juices and drink them every single day. You need to give your kidneys and liver a good break, and especially the digestive system in general. So there's no substitute for these. In my opinion, it's about moderation and common sense. That's what it's all about. So I hope that answers the question. Thanks for the question, and I hope you could hear this video. Thank you.